guys, welcome back again to the channel. My name is Tailor. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching us how to sew the part 1 of our previous video. And if this sounds like something you want to know how we go about the sewing techniques, can you please subscribe, like, and share. And please do not miss any part in this tutorial, because by doing that, if you actually miss any part in this tutorial, you might actually miss a vital information. Please do well to watch from beginning till the end. So guys, without further ado, let's dive right to the main video. So now that these are our pieces right here, and mind you, in our previous video, we didn't actually cut out our sleeve, but in this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching us how to cut a basic sleeve. Is it how to cut a basic sleeve? Even though I have a tutorial on that, but don't worry, I'm going to be teaching us how to do that. So now, the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is to bring out your pieces, and we're going to be working with this zipper. For my skirt parts, I bought this longer one as well, because I actually love this zipper. Like, I really love it. So that's why I bought this. So I bought one for blouse, then I bought one for the skirt as well. Then I went ahead to cut lining pieces for those pieces. So went ahead to cut lining. So please do well to cut your lining. And I want you to know that if you're working with a style that you're going to need lining, it is very advisable to use a full lining. Reason being that it allows your work neater. Okay, it allows your work neater. So you're using a full lining, it's give you a neat finishing, and you even love the end result of your dress. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do now is to start sewing. So now to sew this part, I'm going to leave the blouse aside. We're going to be sewing the skirt part first. And I hope by now we should actually know how to do that, because I already have a previous video of skirt and blouse as well, but actually different with this style, okay? But it's same techniques, okay? So now I went ahead to cut my lining. So I'm going to be using the front as illustration. So this is my wrong side, and this is my right side here. So now this, I'm going to open up my skirt part, and as you can see, I'm going ahead to open it up. So now I'm going to open it up. So now the next thing we are going to consider now is to place our lining on top of this, okay? You place your lining right side facing right side of your actual fabric you're making use of. Alright? So now after you're doing that, so now you should have a accurate, like you should actually cut a accurate lining for the actual fabric. As you can see, one part is not actually longer than the other, and that is how it should be. So now in this skirt part, I don't want my actual lining to start showing at the down part. I want a little bit of my actual fabric, which is the African print, to show at the down part. So what I just went ahead to do when I'm cutting my lining out is I went ahead to deduct 3 inches from my actual length fabric, and this is it right here. So I intentionally drag this up so that you can see, and this is it right here. But what we are going to be doing, where we are going to be starting our stitches, is from this down part, okay? Just go ahead and drag your lining to the hem line of your skirt part, then you go ahead and stitch about ½ inch, which is 0.5 inch, okay? Go ahead and stitch it all the way from the edge here to the edge here, okay? You stitch it from this edge to this edge. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So after stitching this, you have something looking like this, okay? You have something looking like this, because when you are done stitching that, it's going to affect this waistline. So the waistline is not going to align, it's not going to correspond to each other again, okay? It's not going to correspond and align to each other again. So after stitching that down now, you're just going to go ahead and drag your lining up. So this is just an illustration, so that I'm not going to come back and start explaining. Okay, just listen very well. I already have a tutorial on that. Please do well to check, or you will watch. This is actually detailed. So you're just going to drag your lining up after sewing this part. Okay, so after sewing the down part, this is how it's going to be. Okay, it has already affected this waistline after you're done sewing it. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and drag your lining after sewing the down part. You drag it up. Then after dragging it up, then you start stitching all the way from this waistline, about 0.5, all the way to this end line. So you have something like this. Because the 3 parts will be like this. And take your machine and stitch on top of this point, okay? It's going to be like this. Then you go ahead and stitch on top of it. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So then I'm going to head over to my sewing machine now to stitch that. So now guys, this is after stitching. So I intentionally came to show you how to go about this. So for those who actually didn't get what I'm trying to say earlier. So now I'm going ahead to stitch this down, and as you can see, about 0.5 inch. And it has already affected the waistline, like I said earlier. So what I'm going to just do now is to drag your lining up. Okay, so when you drag your lining up, it's going to affect this down part as well. You're going to affect this down part as well, and which means it's going to give you some difficulties, like your fabric will are kind of straight. But don't worry, there are some ways you can do it that you still have your exact straight skirts, okay, without any parts rumpled, okay. So now after dragging this up, you go ahead and stitch about 0.5 all the way after dragging it up. So when you are getting to this new part, you're going to start, let me drag it. After getting to this new part, you're going to start pulling the actual fabric down. Okay, can you see? You see, you already have your straight. This is how it was. Can you see? But you are going to pull your actual fabric down so that you have your straight stitching. Then go ahead and stitch. Like I said earlier, you stitch on top of this to this point. So that's how you're going to do it. And it's going to come out nice. Your lining will not start showing at the end of your actual fabric. If you don't want your lining to start showing, that's how you can go about it. And if you want to leave even like you want your lining to be 5 inches shorter than your actual fabric, that's the same process you're going to use. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do that. Then I'm going to repeat the same process to the back side of the skirt. All right, so guys, I'm going to head over to my sewing machine to stitch that down. So now guys, this is the skirt part, and we are going to head to attach the lining. And as you can see, it is actually neat. And this is the end line of the skirt part, and this is for the back, and this is for the front. So let me show us the front look. So guys, can you see? This is the actual lining, and this is the end of this is the waistline for the skirt. So now the next thing we are going to consider doing this skirt now is to fix our zipper to it. So before joining the bodies of this skirt, we have to fix our zipper to it first. And also you can go ahead and fix it without putting zipper first. But this is the simplest way you can do it without even having any issues. Okay. So I'm going to be using this zipper. It is actually a Lagos zipper, so I actually like this so much. Then we are going to place this like so, okay? Just illustration now. Place it right side facing right side, and you should know that this is how it should be. So now if your measurement is actually accurate, you should have something like this at this end line. It should actually align to each other, okay? So please, when you are trying to cut your fabric, make sure you are working with accurate measurements, all right? So now this is my zipper that I'm going to be working with for the skirt parts. All right, but for now we are not going to be fixing the skirt part first, okay, because we are going to be adding band to it. All right, so now we are just going to go ahead and stitch some parts where the zipper will be sitting. Then we are going to leave our slits out. Okay, the essence of the slit is to work very well. Okay, this is not a stretchy fabric. So now I'm going to be working with 15 inches of this zipper for my skirt. Okay, let's check. Maybe 15 inches will not be too much. Okay, I'm going to be using 13 inches for my skirt. Then I'm going to go ahead. I measure 13 inches for my skirt, but remember that we are going to be placing band to this fabric. So I'm not going to place it this way. If you're actually sewing it like this, I don't want to put band to it, and go ahead and chalk out the 13 inches like this. But since I'm adding band to my own, I'm going to go ahead and bring my tape upward. Can you see? You bring your tape upward this way. So this way, that there is not actually fabric here now. This is where your band will sit on. Alright? So then you just go ahead and come down by 13 inches all the way from here. And you go ahead and chalk out so that you don't make a mistake. You chalk that out, so this will actually be your zipper opening, okay? So when you're done with our band, we are going to go ahead and fix our zipper to it. So now I'm going to drag this up, then I'm going to measure my slit opening, okay? So for my slits, I'm going to be coming up by 17 inches is actually okay, okay? But if you want to make yours, you can use 18 inches, 19 inches, depending on how long you want your opening to be. But there are some cases that some people don't want it that open. You can use 15 inches or 14 inches. But for this, I'm going to be using 17 inches so that she can able to work very well. So then remember our zipper allowance is 1 inch. Now I'm going to go ahead and stitch about 1 inch all the way from this point to this point. Okay? Go ahead and stitch about 1 inch all the way from this point to this point. Then after that, I'm going to bring it to you guys to see. So guys, I'm going to need to stitch this down, and as you can see, this is how it's going to be. Okay? This is our slits, and this is the opening for our zipper allowance point, okay? Our zipper opening, sorry. So then, if you don't want this to confuse you when you are sewing it, you can go ahead and use 2 or 3 pins to pin this down, okay? So I'm going to be using pins to pin this down. So now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now before adding band to this skirt, we are going to shape out the skirt part first. So now this is our skirt. This is the front bodice. You're going to lay the front bodice first before laying the back bodice to it. Okay? You're going to do this first. Then you can now go ahead and lay your back bodice to it. So that is how you are going to do it. Okay? This is how you're going to, and as you can see, there is actually accurate. Okay? If you're working with your measurement and if your measurement is accurate from this chart, when you are sewing it as well, it's going to be accurate. So what I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to start shaping my bodice out. Okay? We're going to start shaping our bodies out for the skirt parts. And I told us how to shape the bodies of your skirts. Please, if you have lights in your area, do well to iron this part down. Okay. So after the sewing of this skirt, I'm going to go ahead and iron it. Do well to iron this place flattened. Okay. Make sure you iron it nice, flattened. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and turn it this way. Then after turning it this way, I'm going to go ahead and start taking my waist measurements. So before taking my waist measurements, I'm going to measure all the way from this edge to this edge. So I have it to be 19.5 inches. Okay. So now I have my waist to be 30 inches. Then I'm going to divide it by 4. So I have it to be by 2. Sorry, I have it to be 15 inches. So you're going to minus. So you should know that this is your waist now. The 15 inches is here. Okay. Then we have excess till 19.5 inches. So you're going to go ahead and minus 19 minus 15. So from this 15, we can go ahead and cut. Then we are going to go ahead and cut to know the allowances we have left. So let's go and cut it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is to be 4.5. So you can now go ahead and divide that 4.5 into 2. You should have 2 quarter. Yeah, 2 quarter. So you go ahead and take 2 quarter on both sides of this point. Okay, take 2 quarter here as well. So you're not going to come to your hip line, which is here. You measure all the way from here to here. So we have it to be 22.5 inches as well. So I will have our weight hip divided by 2 to be 20. So you're going to subtract 20 minus 22.5. So you're going to have 2.5. Then you divide it. You divide 2.5. You have 1/2 quarter, which is 1.075. You're going to go ahead and start stitching 1.075 all the way to the hemline. I hope you understand. So I'm going to go ahead all over to my sewing machine now to stitch that down. So now guys, this is after joining the skirt bodies. This is it right here. This is the shape. So now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do now is to measure out our band measurements. This is actually my band. I'm going to have to cut this out, but I'm going to be showing you how we can go about it. I'm going to place your tape all the way from this edge. Then you're going to start measuring all around the waist. You're going to do it this way. So you do it all the way from this edge to this edge. So whatever you get, you're going to go ahead and cut out the length of that stripe. Okay, I'm going to cut the length of your waist for this stripe. So now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do now is to start stitching like so. Okay, we are going to be stitching it directly like this, right side facing right side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stitch about 0.5 inch. Okay, all the way around that. Okay, all the way around. So the waistline. Okay. Now guys, the next thing to consider now is to turn out our fabric with our blouse. So we're going to shape out our skirt, and that is it right here. So the next thing we're going to do now is to shape our blouse. So I'm going to be using the front piece of the blouse for illustration. And as you can see, if you notice very well at this edge here, if you notice very well at this opening, you can see that I added paper gum to it. Please do well to iron paper gum to it so that when you finish sewing it, it's going to stand firm on your body. But if you did not add anything to it, it can later start falling on your chest. Okay, just make sure you add something thicker to it. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to turn it out with my lining. Okay, so this is my lining right here as well. So I'm not even cut out this slit open. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and recut now. So now guys, just go ahead and open your fabric to the right side. So this is how it's going to be after opening your fabric to the right side. Okay, so if you notice very well, there is a paper gum at this edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and place my lining right side facing right side. Okay, so I'm going to place my lining to the right side of this actual fabric. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So then I'm going to go ahead and place it this way. Then I'm going to start stitching. Okay, I'm going to place it this way and start stitching. So now guys, the next thing you're going to go ahead is to place your fabric right side facing right side. And as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch up this point. But before stitching it up, the same process that was applied to the skirt part, it was actually applied to the blouse as well. If you notice very well that this blouse is not actually equal at this line, just go ahead and drag it downward, just the way we did for the front. Then you go ahead and stitch about half inch all the way. And after stitching it, you're going to drag the neckline, the lining to the neckline. Then you go ahead and stitch your lining first before stitching your side to the actual fabric. Just the same process we did for our skirt part. And I already repeated this same process in one of my videos. Okay, so I'm going to tag it on the comment section so you can go ahead and check it out. So guys, I'll head over to my sewing machine now to do this. And I'm going to repeat the same process for my back as well. So now guys, this is after turning the lining. So this is for the back and this is for the front. Okay, so this is for the front as well. All right, so this is the opening. Okay, for the front, please do well to iron it as well. So can you see that the points here is actually thicker. Okay, so please do well to add something thicker, maybe your paper gum or your color gum. Do well to add anything thicker to this part, so that it's going to frame on your chest when you wear it. Okay, so now the next thing you're going to consider now is our zipper allowance for the back as well. Just go ahead and place your back right side facing right side of this. Okay, you place your back right side facing right side of this. All right, so make sure that the neckline is aligned to each other. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do, so if your measurement is accurate, you have something like this. Can you see this is actually accurate? So now this is the zipper we are going to be working with. Okay, I'm going to be working with this black zipper. So then I'm going to go ahead and measure my zipper all the way from this iron part, which is actually silver, from this iron part to the length of the sleeve, so that I'm going to know the length I'm working with. Okay, the length of my sleeve is 23 inches, so I'm going to be placing my zip to be 20 inches on this fabric. Okay, so I'm going to be placing it 20 inches. All right, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do now is we are going to go ahead and stitch about the allowance we left earlier for our zipper allowance from here to this point. So we're not going to be adding any slits to this part, because it will be up, like it's kind of is a blouse, and we are going to open it around the hip line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stitch about the allowance I left earlier all the way from this point to this point. So after stitching it, I'm going to go ahead and fix this zipper to it. Please do have to stitch this down before stitching the zipper, so that it can be easier for you to do. So I'm going to head over to my sewing machine now to do that. Now guys, this is after joining the zipper. So this is the zipper at the back side. So I went ahead to stitch down my shoulder. So, and I hope we actually know how to do that. Okay, I'll be doing that in my previous video, so that's why I went ahead to do it off camera. Right, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is to cut out, because I promised us that I'm going to be cutting out my sleeve when I'm sewing down. Okay, even though if I don't even want to cut it, I already have a tutorial on that basic sleeve. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out, but I'm not going to be explaining full detail. So I'm going to be dropping the link as well to my description box to check how to draft out or how to cut out a normal basic short sleeve or normal basic long sleeve. Okay, so now I'm going to set this aside and fold my fabric for my sleeve. So now this is the strap I'm going to be using to this particular dress. So now I'm going to go ahead and rip out my starting line. Just going to be making use of a freehand method here. Okay, so now after doing it that way, you're going to come down with your desired length of your sleeve part. So I'm going to be making use of 21 inches. Okay, so I'm going to add extra 1 inch stitching allowance. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and make it straight through like so. Right, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is to come down by your biceps line. Okay, you divide your bust measurements by 12, then add extra 1.5 inch to it. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's the standard measurement. So this, I have mine to be 4.5. So I'm going to go ahead and make it straight through all the way like that. Okay, so now I'm going to divide this. That has to be 8 quarter. So then I'm going to divide the 8 quarter into 2 this way. Okay, so whatever I have here, I'm going to go ahead and chalk out. Okay, so this is my midpoint. Right, so this is where my slanted else will come. Right, so now the next thing we are going to go ahead and consider to do now is come down by your elbow line. Okay, so mine is 12 inches. Okay, so divide the elbow by 2. So I have it to be 6 inches. Okay, then we add extra 1.5 inch to it, because I'm going to be turning this line, this fabric with this sleeve with line as well. I'm going to be turning it to a full line as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and slant this all the way to this point. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slant this. I have the midpoint of this. Yeah, you can go ahead and find the midpoint of this. Just go ahead and slant it as well. But I'm going to be making use. I'm not going to be doing it freehand, so you can go ahead and check the full tutorial. Okay. So can you see this is in form of a slanted X? Okay, so now I'm going to come to this M line here. I have it to be 4 inches. Then I'm going to add extra 1.5 inch to it. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect this way. Okay, to this point. Okay, so sorry for the double lines. Just watch me because I'm going to be cutting this. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and cut out. Okay, so pay very close attention to this slanted S. So guys, can you see? So this is it right. So go ahead and notch the center. Okay, you can do well to notch this part as well. Okay, so that you can know. So notch this part as well. Alright, so that you can know. You can also notch this part as well. You can do it this way. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and cut my pieces for this. So after cutting it, I'm going to bring it to you guys to see. So now this is my sleeve, and as you can see, I just went ahead to cut a short lining for it, so that I don't want to fold the end line. So that's why I went ahead to cut a short lining, and I went ahead to stitch it here and here and here. Okay, so I repeated the same process for this other part as well. I actually stitched this down as well, here and here. So now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is to fix this to our actual fabric, and I hope we actually know how to do that. So here is my actual fabric, that is the blouse bodies. Okay, so I'm going to be adding the sleeve part to the blouse body. Just go ahead and stretch your fabric this way. Okay, do it that way, and you place the notch side of your sleeve to this joint part, to this shoulder line. Then go ahead and start stitching all the way from here to the end line of your armhole. So I'm going to repeat the same process to this one. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and shape out my bodies out. So now guys, as you can see, I've been able to attach the sleeve to it, and this is it. So this is the long sleeve, okay? So now then I'm going to show us the skirt as well. So I've gone ahead and add my zipper to my skirt, and this is it right here, okay? So guys, this was bring us to the end of the video, and please, when you're done sewing it, do well to iron it out, okay? Make sure you give it a good press as well. So guys, if this was actually helpful, kindly please subscribe, hit on the notification bell, like, share, and comment. And I'm going to be here to wait for your response. You can go ahead and try this out, and if there is any part to do or understand, please feel free to drop it on the comment section. I will be glad to attend to your call. So I'll be saying goodbye from here. See you guys in my next one. I love you all. Bye.